Hello and welcome to this special radio town hall meeting against electoral corruption in the 2023 general elections by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. I am Adele Biobiabumo, the program manager at PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society organization working to promote good governance, participation and accountability in Nigeria. With the much anticipated 2023 general election just about 7 days away, improvement in the conduct of elections in the country has become paramount and priceless. However, achieving free, fair, credible polls requires all hands to be on deck, starting from the election umpire, security agencies, politicians, civil society organizations, and the electorate. Today's town hall meeting seeks to underscore the importance of all relevant stakeholders playing their roles to enable Nigerians to achieve free, fair, and credible polls devoid of violence and vote trading. We appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for supporting the production of this program. The 2023 general elections would be the seventh since 1999, when Nigeria returned to democratic rule after a long spell under military dictatorship. Undoubtedly, in the past 23 years, Nigeria has come a long way in striving to improve the integrity and credibility of the conduct of elections. It is instructive to note that Nigeria has progressed from the era of snatching ballot boxes, ballot paper fraud, writing of false results, and large-scale election violence, among other acts that compromise the elections. In the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, upscaled the use of technology, which is backed by the law. As remarkable as these improvements are, it does not guarantee successful and unblemished elections. Let me reiterate that it is inconceivable to think electoral corruption will disappear in Nigeria without INEC, law enforcement officers, civil society groups, and citizens doing their possible best to protect the sanctity and credibility of elections. My guests today are Mary Nkem, Deputy Director of Voter Education, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC FCT, CSP Femi Adedeji, who is representing the first PRO, James Ugochukwu, co-convener, Civil Society Situation Room, and Henry Shield, who is the head of Mission, Leadership and Accountability Initiative Nigeria. They will speak on preparation and their concerns ahead of the elections, as well as proffer solutions on possible ways of mitigating any threat to the polls. For you listening to us out there, please remember that you are an important part of this meeting. You will have the opportunity to contribute via your phone shortly. You can also watch us live on Facebook at Official PRIMOG if it is convenient for you. The spelling of PRIMOG is PRIMORG. We will give you the phone numbers to reach us in the course of the deliberation. But as a citizen, what are your concerns ahead of the elections? What issues do you think can undermine the integrity of 2023 election? And what must we do to avert it? Do you know by selling your vote before or during the election, you are destroying yourself and adding to the problem? And why would you want to sell your vote? You can begin to send your views to 090-22-65-6167. That is 0902-265-6167. If you have just tuned in, this special radio town hall meeting is on the integrity of the 2023 general elections, and you are right on time as the deliberations are about to begin. The general election will start on Saturday, 25th February 2023, with the presidential election and the two houses of the National Assembly. 2 weeks later, the election of governors and members of the state houses of assembly will also hold. Let me bring in my guests to weigh in with their concerns and the role every stakeholder must play in ensuring the 2023 elections are seamless. I warmly welcome all my guests to the program, especially for making out time of their busy schedule to be here. We'll start this conversation first with Mary Nkem, who is the Deputy Director of Voter Education, FCT INEC. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
For the upton time, INEC has assured Nigerians of delivering credible elections. How ready is the Commission?
The Commission is very ready for this election that is coming up on Saturday, the 25th of February, and Saturday, 11th of March, 2023. In that, all our materials, as we speak, have been delivered to the state, and they have been batched, so many of them, to the various local government offices and so on. We have commenced the training of our poll officials, whom we have started training. Some have been completed. We have trained our supervisory presiding officers, the SPOs. Trainings are still ongoing for other levels of election officials. So as we speak, the commission is ready, because both our sensitive and non-sensitive materials have arrived at the various states.
It's great to know that the issue of logistics has been or is in the process of being taken care of by the Commission.
Yes.
Could you tell us about the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, which is the technology that INEC has over time told us that it will deploy in this election, and share with us features of the BVAS that will curb rigging of electoral malpractice?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, the BVAS, the Commission in 2023, in fact, before now, in most of the off-season governorship elections that we've had, we've used the BVAS, and we have all seen how the BVAS has helped in curbing electoral malpractices. Now, what the BVAS does is that the BVAS accredits a voter using either the fingerprint or the facial. In the past, when a voter is to be accredited, when we're using the other technology, when the fingerprint fails to be authenticated, then the voter will either be given a form to fill, an incident form to fill, to be able to cast his or her vote. And in that regard, you discover that so many people could come with impersonate, but with the BVAS, it is not possible to impersonate, because once your fingerprint fails to be authenticated, definitely your face cannot fail, especially if you are the owner of the face and you came with it to the polling unit.
Okay, but some would argue that technology is not an end in itself.
Definitely.
Technology, like you said, it's there to help improve the process.
Yes.
What of the people manning this technology? How sure is the Commission that they would not be compromised?
Well, that is why we are carrying out the training. The officials who are at every polling unit, we are going to be deploying, the Commission will be deploying 4 officials. That's a presiding officer and 3 other assistant presiding officers who are going to man the polling unit. Now, these officers are being trained on how to handle the device, and they're also being trained on their professionalism, how they need to work, that, they should not do anything, because we have a regulation, we have guidelines and regulation that guides us in our electoral process, and these guidelines and regulations must be maintained by these officials. And not only that, before the commencement of election, these officials are going to swear to an oath of neutrality to indicate that you will not misbehave, and if anyone does, that will be used against the person.
Do you think taking that oath is enough to ensure that the officials would not be compromised?
That is why I said we are training them and retraining. Now, training is going on across the Federation, and even on the eve of that election, when they are at the rack, that is where they will be camped. Another level of training will still, like a refresher course, will be carried out on these officials, and they will be told what to the do's and the don'ts of election. So I'm sure that they will behave well.
Thank you for that. So the person listening to me, from my guest here, the Deputy Director of Voter Education, Independent National Electoral Commission, she has said that the officials that would be there on election day are being trained, and they will be retrained, and they have also they will take an oath to ensure that they do not compromise the process. So Nigerians, electorate voters, make sure you look out for such and ensure that the officials do not compromise the process. Now let's shift our attention to CSP Femi Adedeji, who is representing the first PRO. You're welcome to today's episode of the program. In a few days, just like we have earlier said, elections will hold in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. How ready is the Nigeria police force for the task ahead?
The police is ready because elections is just an election cycle when it comes to police in Nigeria, and we have experience in preparing for such elections, before the election proper, during the election, and after the elections. Our roles have been cut out for us because we need to protect candidates, protect electoral officials, protect the electoral materials, support the movements, and then support the election process during election day. And then you know that after elections, the results and expected sometimes fallouts from the elections. So the police ready deploying. Yesterday, the IGP assured Nigerians that over 300,000 policemen will be involved in the electoral process. So we are ready. And a couple of days ago, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, commissioned more equipment for the police to use in these elections. So we are ready because it's something we are used to, and we assure Nigerians that the election anxiety is just natural. We will get there.
It is one thing for the Nigeria Police Force to be ready, and it is another thing for some individuals to threaten the citizens to say, do not come out on election day, the possibility of violence, and we know that that can undermine the election. So how prepared is the police to push back people that may want to cause trouble during the polls?
Well, we will now speculate about people who may want to cause trouble. We expect that more than 97% of the citizens want peaceful, fair, and violence-free elections. So maybe you have the very, very, very minority who may want to do things that are improper during elections. That's why we have layers of deployments to deal with electoral problems, including possibility of violence in some areas. So we have policemen at the polling booths who will support the electoral officials. Then we have police teams who will be ready to respond where there's need for the use of force. And then we have layers of supervision to see that these things don't go out of hand. We are ready for the very, very tiny minority that may want to go beyond just talking.
So as a voter, if I notice on election day that there are some individuals that may want to cause havoc or harm, what should I do?
We have officers on the spot who will listen to you. You just draw the attention of a police officer that I noticed so and so. He may have to draw the attention of other police teams that so and so thing may want to happen, and then there is a coordination, there's a communication process to determine exactly what to do. Sometimes the policeman at the polling booth may not be the one who will want to take action because his assignment is clear that he has to support the electoral process at the polling booths. So there's a chain of command and a reporting process. The citizens are rest assured that when they see any policeman on election day, the man is bound to respond to him and to quickly help solve problems, simply because we are all in this together.
Okay, so is there a form of synergy between the police and other law enforcement agencies?
Yes, excellent synergy, because law enforcement means that we help build law and order process during this period, and then see that we have a seamless interaction that leads to a free, fair, and violent-free elections.
Okay, we understand that INEC is deploying technology in the coming election, which means that citizens are assured that their vote would count, their votes would have value. But again, we have some politicians who would want to buy votes. So what is the police doing to ensure that they curb vote buying in the election?
Intelligence officers have been deployed right now across the country, sniffing out possibilities and all that, but we do not want to speculate to assume that it will happen. But because people know the consequences, there will be jail terms, there will be a lot of things going on after the elections for any electoral offenses. We have desk officers across the states who will receive complaints or information about possibility of not just vote buying, but anything that may affect the election negatively. So the police is ready with the intelligence officers deployed, and then especially during election day and after the elections to stop any of those things that may mar the elections. But we do not expect that there will be anything that will disrupt the elections. You do not expect? Yes.
Okay, so aside from the officers that would be on ground on election day, are there emergency phone numbers?
Well, every police command has a control room, and then I think we have over 100 numbers you can call, starting from the control room numbers, about 37 of them across the states. Then you have the police public relations officers that are mandatory desk officers. Then you have the commissioners of police. Then you have the desk officers. These numbers will be rolled out officially before the election day proper to complement those 105 numbers that you can reach quickly.
105?
Yes, I'm assuming that when you tabulate 37 numbers from the commissioners of police, 37 from the police PROs, and 37 from, that's more than 105, 37 from the control rooms, and additional numbers that you could easily reach. If you are not seeing a policeman to complain to, you could call those numbers and they'll be routed to the right teams to respond to challenges immediately.
So citizens, voters should be rest assured that the police is out there to ensure that nothing undermines the process.
Have fun on election day.
Relax and have fun. Okay, we'll come back after the election and have this discussion to know if citizens actually relaxed and had fun. Thank you for that. I will get back to you. But in the studio, I also have my guest, Henry Shield, who is the head of Mission Leadership and Accountability Initiative Nigeria. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You've heard from INEC, you have heard from the police. Now let's talk about citizens' participation and how important is the participation of citizens in achieving transparent and credible elections in 2023. And what do you think is behind the enthusiasm we have seen more than so many Nigerians participating, the youth eagerness to participate in the election?
Thank you. I think the question already answers itself. Nigerians are tired. People want a new breath of life. People want a government that actually works for them. People are tired of being told that this is their government when they have absolutely nothing to show that this is their government. There are people in Nigeria today that at over 40 years, they have never experienced good governance. They don't know what good governance means. That's why when you go to a country like Ghana, you're surprised that, this is actually how a society should be. Some of us we have grown so thick in our skins that we just accept anything that comes as governance. You understand? But the truth of the matter is, people are born in Nigeria, grow up in Nigeria, die in Nigeria without experiencing what a normal society, a normal life should be. I'm not saying extra life or just a normal life.
Are you saying we are not living a normal life in Nigeria?
No, we are not.
But some would argue that we are.
See, argument depends on people's interest. Look at what democracy means. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Have you ever witnessed that? Can you, as a Nigerian who sleeps at the filling station, who does not know what 24 hours electricity supply means, ever in your life, who has to struggle to get 5,000 naira, who needs to struggle, you are on the queue for PVC, you're on the queue for practically, see, it's like the system is designed to frustrate you. You understand what I'm saying? So people can argue and say, there's an improvement, but it is possible to have a country that genuinely, it doesn't matter what political party you belong to, you can have a country that genuinely works, where you do not need to know anyone as a graduate to get employment, where you don't need a note from a senator to be employed in any office. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they are tired. They are now fighting the Nigerian young people. And when they say the youths are woken up, it's not just the youth. We interact a lot with even the elderly. There are people that have just placed their hands on their chin about the Nigerian situation.
So do you think the frustration, like you highlighted, will spur Nigerians to vote on election?
It's already doing that. Look at the number. Thank God we have an INEC official here. Look at the number of people that have never voted in their lives, who have decided that in this election cycle, they are going to not just participate, but also mobilize others like them to participate. I used to officiate during electioneering periods in the past. And where I live, in an estate where I live, you have bankers, you have oil gurus, you have lawyers who come out on election day to play five-a-side football.
So they are part of the problem.
I'm not saying they told me. This is what personally in my own estate. But this time around, they are the ones coming to tell me, Oga, we don't go collect PVC. All my family members have gone. Because we have seen that this is not how a nation should be run. We have seen that it is actually possible for you to be proud to own a green passport without being looked on as a criminal, as a fraudster. It's possible to bring back confidence in your citizenship of Nigeria. All it takes is just good governance.
And you know, one of the tenets of good governance is participation. And it's good
Absolutely.
that you highlighted that Nigerians are participating. So if we want to see our government work for us, we all need to participate in the process. And it's not just election.
Anyone of voting age, my children are of voting age, the two of them are of voting age now. Anyone of voting age in this election cycle who does not participate, no matter where you belong, no matter how long you've complained, you are part of the problem.
Part of the problem. I hope you heard what Henry Shield just said. If you're voting age and you're not participating in the election, then you are part of the problem. Let's shift to James Ugochukwu, who is smiling while listening to Henry Shield speak. He is the co-convener, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, Nigerians will cast their votes in the coming days with a lot of assurances from the president and the INEC chairman. What are your concerns and the concerns of other CSOs of the conduct of the 2023 election, beside all the assurances we've heard?
Well, the concerns are many. And if I start itemizing it, I think we'll have a long day here. Number one is the attitude of the political class. You can, if you reflect back to their style of campaign over the past couple of months, you discover that the campaign is not laced with issues. It is completely in contravention of Section 92 of the Electoral Act. Tribalism, ethnicity, religious bigotry, defamation of the other candidates is what has dominated the campaign. And we are surprised that the security have not done their work by ensuring that they apprehend some of these people. Because all the things they've been doing is a precursor to election day violence and post-election day violence. In 2011, we had serious post-election violence because of this kind of violent rhetorics from the political class. Now, when it comes to even we, the civil society, we are still concerned about the safety of the observers. We had a case during the mock accreditation exercise here where some observers were arrested for participating in the mock accreditation, whether the security operatives were not well briefed about the exercise or they are just being overzealous, because this is just a mock accreditation that has nothing at stake. So we are looking at if the security operative should look into their personnel and their attitude towards observers, so that the observers can go there and do the work they need to do, because these observers were accredited by INEC to be part of the system. The other concerns we are having is that of vote buying. Yes, as now that we have already prepared, waiting for the election and all that, we should not rule the fact that some politicians that are not out to give us good governance want to buy their way to power. And it's something that we need to start re-echoing in the next few days to the ears of Nigeria, that these guys are coming again to bring their money, to buy their way to power, and to continue to punish you. And to even be calling on the security operatives to do their work, because vote buying is completely unacceptable. It's a crime in line with Section 121 of the Electoral Act, and is punishable by law. So I think this is an opportunity for the security operatives to make money for the government, so that they can arrest as many of them as possible, and they will pay fine, or they throw them to jail for 12 months or so for selling votes, including the buyer. So vote buying is a concern for us. Another concern is sabotage by some bad elements. Like INEC has said that they are ready, they have the logistics, and also we've had those information and all those assurances several times. A case in point is 2019 election, where election was cancelled some couple of hours before the election. All these things are a result of bad people in Nigeria, because the problem of Nigeria is some bad eggs in Nigeria. You have a situation whereby you have election material in a close by ward here, just to carry it from that ward to polling units nearby. You see the driver will tell you that he cannot move, that this one has happened, this one has not happened, and all that. So we are concerned about sabotage of the preparedness of INEC and all that. So we have a lot of concerns that.
Are you also optimistic that with the introduction of beavers, it would ensure electoral integrity?
Yes, beavers, as I keep on telling Attorney Fora, has no problem. It's the use of the beavers that is the issue. Use of the beavers in the sense that our INEC colleague has talked about training and all that. So if these people that have been trained to use the beaver did not understand how it works very well, it becomes a problem. From the mock accreditation we did now, yes, we recorded that the beavers is working perfectly, and in fact the time frame of accreditation is less than 1 minute or so. Maybe we hope that the people that INEC is training or are training will understand this technology to that point where it will be very fast and efficient, and it will make the process will be faster. Then the beavers, the job of the beavers is accreditation and of course uploading of result, because the beaver does not compute result as it is. So beavers will stop all these malpractices if those handling it adhere to that. We are talking about accreditation process and malpractice and all that. We had the issue of overvoting that happened in Oshu and all that. Has nothing to do with the beavers. It has a lot to do with the process and the persons manning the polling unit.
So the people behind the technology,
yes, will determine if the beavers is going to be useful or not, because the beavers, the way it's configured is that it's configured according to polling unit. Each beavers is configured to work for a particular polling unit. That is to say, if in this particular polling unit we have 1,000 registered voters, the beavers cannot have more than 1,000 registered voters. Then during the accreditation, if the beavers accredit 800 people as a final accreditation, any vote that is 801 in counting the ballot that is 801, then the INEC officials there might have compromised, because the question you ask yourself is, how did they accredit 801 outside the beavers? So the beaver does not have problem, is well configured. By the time you get to the polling unit, the first thing you check is the beavers reading 00 in terms of accreditation. Fine. How many people are registered voters? The beavers will show you. So if at the end of the poll,
citizens should ensure that they
exactly, citizen vigilance, especially the political party agent and all that, they should be able to know what the beavers has recorded. And when the collation is taking place, they should be very, very alert to ensure that what is being collated is not more than the accredited voters.
Okay.
So the equation is simple. It's a simple mathematical equation. The number of votes cast should be less than or equal to the accredited voters. If it's one person over,
then there's a challenge. Hello, name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling from Labana.
Your name, please?
My name is Innocent.
Innocent, let's hear you. What do you think can undermine the integrity of the elections?
What I'm about to say is that the integrity is here. It's only about what your colleagues over there is saying in terms of people that will manage the beaver. And again, I want to know and ask, what about those people that do not collect their PVC and they have their VIN number? What are they going to do? Because this is an issue. So many people do not collect their PVC and still don't know what they're going to do.
Okay, thank you for that. For those who did not collect their PVC, what will they do? The INEC official here would help us respond to that. Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Name and where you're calling us from.
Thank you. God bless you. Shall be well with you. God bless you. This evangelist Daniel.
Let's hear you.
Yes, concerning the river. River, if truly the person that will be managing that river can be compromised, then there should be issue and there should be problem. Because Nigerians of today, I don't know, I cannot vouch for anybody that cannot be compromised. It's time of voting aspect. So what do we do to compare the individuals that will man the river? Because as the INEC staff is saying there, if the accreditation in that place should be 800 and somebody manipulates, some people can even get to up to 1,000 naira and put it there. You can even get to 1,000 in a polling booth. So what do we do on this scenario? Because surely it must happen. Look at the Osun matter now. They say overvoting. How did we get the overvoting and still through river? So somebody that
thank you for your question. Marion Kem, the Deputy Director of Voter Education, INEC, would answer that. Thank you so much. Okay, Henry Shield, we've seen lots of fake news there, misinformation and all of that. What are the dangers of misinformation and fake news ahead of the election?
They are enormous. Politicians, especially Nigerian politicians, will always be who they are. And it's the responsibility of the civil society, including organizations like yours, to keep Nigerians properly informed. We've seen series of deliberate propaganda, deliberate misinformation in the media. In the past few weeks, in the past few months, people come up with posts, information that are deliberate to cause you to either not go out to vote on election day or to start doubting maybe your own choice. And it's okay, it's expected. It's a time of desperation from many of the camps. You understand what I'm saying? But we owe a duty to let Nigerians know that what we are doing next week Saturday, we're not doing it for APC, PDP, ABGA, Labour Party, or anybody. We're doing it for us, ourselves. It's our nation that we need to save. So when people, there are situation rooms that are set up deliberately to misinform the public.
But do you think citizens need to verify information before they share?
Absolutely. That is why the media needs to be in front of this. You do not allow, I won't call them non-state actors, you do not allow unverified sources to model up the polity with what they think will benefit them. Because if you have good intentions as a candidate, you don't need to lie.
Thank you for that. Let's take this call. Hello, your name and where you're calling us from?
Calling from Buhari.
Your name, please.
Calling from Buhari.
Okay, let's hear you. How worried are you over fears of vote buying ahead of the election?
Yes, what I want to ask is this. Is there any influence that the number one citizen, Mr. President, has over the election? That is number one question. And if there is, don't you think that we can influence somebody? Like now, look at the judgment given by the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and he now said his own. So, and we are following his own now as an incumbency president. So I don't know if he has any influence over this election.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Henry Shield, in 1 minute,
let me
do you
take
think
that,
the president
right?
can influence the outcome of the election?
Absolutely. A sitting president has a lot of powers to make policies, to make decisions that could affect voter behavior on the day of election. On this particular issue of the currency redesign and the judgment of the Supreme Court, I'm aware that as at a few days ago, when they went back to the court, the Supreme Court hasn't made any statement again All right. So what the president has done, and this is for everyone's good. I have witnessed elections as an observer. A politician will maltreat you for 8 years because he knows on election day is going to bring cash to buy your conscience. So the moment they realize that that power has been taken away from them, they need to sit up. So what the president has done is to save Nigeria from another calamity.
Okay.
That's my stand. That's my stand on that.
Thank you. Let's take this call. Hello.
Yes, thank you. I called this evangelist calling back.
You have 1 minute, please.
Okay. Concerning the vote buying, yeah, we know that people are impoverished. But what I want Nigerians to understand, you can the election can be manipulated where you are popular, because what we talk about election is popularity. How much are you known in the society? How much impact have you imparted in the society? So that candidate may have upper hand than some people that doesn't are just coming up. So that is why election easily you should know who should take the day if really you're a politician, because you must be popular. Thank you, and God bless you.
I want to add that the president has over and over said that he wants to bequeath a free, fair, and credible election. Thank you so much again, Marion Kemp, Deputy Director of Voter Education, INEC. You've heard what some of the callers said, issues about TVC and PVC. If you have your TVC and you do not have a PVC, is there a possibility for you to vote on election day?
No, you cannot vote because the PVC is the only means of identification on election day that you are a true voter. So that is what admits people to the polling unit, and that is what will enable any voter to vote. We've heard instances of people posting all manner of messages that if you don't have your PVC and you know your VIN number, you just get there and call it for them. We want to categorically say that the law backs up this idea that no PVC, no voting. So any voter that wants to vote on election day must ensure that he or she keep her PVC safe and only bring it out on election day to cast his or her vote.
Okay, you've heard people raise the concern of the beavers, which you have said that the officials that would man these beavers have been trained, and they would also be retrained, and they would also take an oath. I need you to convince Nigerians that these beavers would work for them.
You see, it's not just that the officials have been trained and will be retrained. You know, the commission works in collaboration with other stakeholders. On election day, apart from the officials that will be at the polling unit, manning the polling unit and conducting the actual election, the commission is going to deploy officials who are going to be monitoring the process. So they will be moving from one polling unit to the other. That is INEC official. We monitor the process. So if they get to a place and discover that the officer or the presiding officer is doing the wrong thing, they will correct him. Now, we also have resident electoral commissioners in each of the states of the federation. These people will not just sit in their offices. They too will be going around, moving around. We have civil society organizations who are going to be observers, who will also observe the process and make their reports at the end of the day. So a lot has been put in place to checkmate the people that are going to man this machine.
So are there other concerns that the commission is facing? Are there other challenges that citizens are not aware of?
Well, for now, none, because our materials are ready, PVCs have been distributed, and we are good to go.
Okay, so are there fears that... Okay, take the call then. Hello?
Hello. Please, point of correction, there is something I want to bring to the notice of the INEC officer there.
Seconds, please.
Oluomo in Lagos, they say park and waiting, that is working. They say the Lagos electoral distance, they will use that park and something garden. And this Oluomo is a worker of the presidential candidate of one of the parties. So what are you people doing concerning that Oluomo, or what do they call that man from Lagos? I think it's in social media.
Thank you so much for your contribution, your affairs earlier. If MC Olomo is person in charge of the NUWR, National Youth Road Transport Workers, INEC and Delisha, but that has been debunked. Could you say that again for the benefit of the person listening?
The Commission has an MOU with these persons that will help us with logistics on election day. So, and that MOU is signed, and the content, part of the MOU, is that such people must be ready to discharge their duties as required. And the person he is calling, the Commission has no form of MOU with him.
Okay, and one other question for you. There are fears that vote buying could be a major challenge in the election. President Buhari alluded to this in his explanation to justify the currency redesign policy. How can we minimize vote buying?
You see, the Commission has, knowing fully well that people, there is usually vote trading during election, has put up a lot of things in place. For instance, the Commission collaborates with the security agents. The Commission also collaborates with other organizations like the EFCC, the ICPC, and all other agencies that can help to curb vote buying. And not just that, before now, the Commission allow people to just walk into the polling unit, to the cubicle, when they are accredited, cast their vote and leave. But when the Commission realized that voters on election day will go in with their phone or any photographic device, take a picture of the ballot paper that they have made their choice on, and show it. The Commission came up with this idea of you don't enter into the polling unit or the cubicle with any phone or photographic device. So which means you cannot take a snapshot. And the Commission also, rearranged the polling unit in a way that when you enter to cast your vote, you cannot see, nobody will see you. Before now, maybe when you cast your vote,
so
there's a way you can.
Secret ballot.
Yes, it's open secret. Open secret in the sense that you go in, thumbprint in the open, and you come out in the full view of everyone present.
Thumbprint in the open, or
thumbprint in the secret.
Secret.
And come out in the full view of everybody and deposit the ballot paper in the box for everyone to see.
So are you assuring us that we would have a free, fair, and credible election?
Definitely.
An inclusive election also?
Definitely, especially with the collaboration of our stakeholders, critical stakeholders like the police and other agencies.
Thank you so much, Mary Nkem, Deputy Director of Voter Education, INEC. We have a message on Facebook from Taiwo Isaac Aderebigbe, and it says, Nigeria will be great again in my lifetime. Citizens should go to the polling units, vote their preferred candidate and party. Thank you so much, Aderebigbe. Keep your messages coming. And let's quickly shift to CSP Femi Adedeji, who is representing the first PRO. What do you see as a major challenge for the police ahead of the election, and how can it affect the work that you're doing towards ensuring a free, fair, and credible election?
Right now, I think we are ready for the elections. It used to be about logistics, but in the last several days, those things have been overcome with new equipment being commissioned, including buses and personnel carriers. That we have more personnel on the ground deployed as intelligence officers, and we'll have more uniform officers that will be visible during election day. Our communication equipments are up to date, and we expect that, except for unforeseen things, we have contingency plans that can respond to that. We do not expect that there will be major challenges that we will not be able to surmount. I think for me, I think just the election anxiety is making people expecting is fueling that fear that the worst will happen on election day. Nothing is going to happen. We are going to have free and fair elections.
Okay, free and fair election. Hello, your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Christopher Nkem. I'm calling you right from there.
Let's hear you, Christopher Nkem. Do you have fears ahead of the election?
Yes, I just have a few things I want to ask. INEC, what the preparation and what is the arrangement concerning the security? And they talk about the security that is only police and the civil defense will be in a polling unit. And now we are not had which people are the security coming to be there, because sometimes in some states and in some local governments, some hoodlums normally overpower police. Is this a good idea this time around? And it's only police and civil defense that will be there. And the other time they said that they don't need any arm, any police with arm in the police unit. They have to come with batons and they just be there and supervise. But you see that because of that, so people are coming to take away the polling bus. And we want to know, will it still be so? Or will they deploy military men as a joint task force, both police and the civil defense to guide the polling units? Thank you.
Thank you so much. The police has told us that they would be there. Their officers will be on ground to ensure that your fears are taken care of. If you perceive or you feel threatened, speak to that police officer that is stationed at the polling unit. Thank you so much for your calls. Let me quickly get the take of James Ugochukwu, who is the co-convener, Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. In 1 minute, how much can our religious institutions help in curbing growing electoral corruption in Nigeria? And what is your advice to the electorates?
Well, the religious bodies are the custodian of our faith, both Christianity, Islam, and traditional religion and all that. And what to expect these religious bodies are they should be preachers of peace, and they should remain neutral when it comes to this particular election. They have influence on the people and they should be able to talk to the people to do the right thing. Like I used to say, the people that are causing this election violence, malpractices and all that, they attend one church or one mosque or one shrine or the other. So the religious leaders and religious influencers should, as a matter of urgency, continue to talk to these people that they need to make this democracy work and they need to make this a bloodless transition of power to power so that people will be alive to enjoy this democracy. People don't need to die for somebody to get to power. And for the citizen, the election is close. What kind of role do you want to play? Do you want to be used by the politician and risk being killed because they want to get to power, or you want to be part of the process and see a new government that will be part of? So in whatever way, as a citizen, as an INEC or other staff, as security, as an observer, and as anybody, my advice to every citizen is that do everything possible to make sure that this election is free, fair, credible, and of course inclusive, and blood-free.
Thank you for that. Let's take this last call. Hello.
My name is Mr. Ayo.
Let's hear you.
Mr. Ayo, yeah, my fear is this. The issue is that after accreditation, the politician can begin to do their work because the thugs will not enter. And after accreditation, they cannot complete anything they like, and that will affect the election result. And nobody will say anything about that one. Because that is where the problem is. So that the security should be alerted and do something about that particular area.
Thank you so much. You have all heard what our guests have said today. We all have a role to play as citizens in ensuring that we have a free, fair, credible elections. We have come to the end of this special radio town hall meeting on integrity of the 2023 general elections and the role of stakeholders and citizens in ensuring corrupt-free and credible polls. We will inform you in due time when next we are having town hall meeting. We appreciate our guests, Marian Kemp, Deputy Director of Voter Education, Independent National Electoral Commission, CSP Femi Adedeji, who represented the first PRO. I'm James Ugochukwu, co-convener, Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, and Henry Shield, Head of Mission Leadership and Accountability Initiative Nigeria. If you have a message for us or you want to react to what you heard on this program, please reach us on 0902-265-6167. That is 0902-265-6167. Please visit the news page of our website, primognews.org. That is primognews.org. For all the details of our reports and interviews, visit our website, www.primog.org, to get all the information about Primog. This radio town hall meeting against electoral corruption in the 2023 general elections has the support of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation at its website, macfound.org. Many thanks to all of those who called in, those who watched via Facebook, and those who sent in messages. And many thanks to the Primog team for their wonderful work. The executive producer of this town hall meeting is Okiria Agbonsurimi. I am Adaobi Obiabumo. Stay safe.